Hello everybody, and welcome back to episode 7 of my tutorial series for Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. I'm Icon, and in this episode, we're hopefully gonna be able to finish the rest of the mid-game. So that means I want to clear a dungeon down to level 15, that's where it ends, and I also want to visit a couple of side branches that we haven't visited yet. For example, the orcish mines are worth a visit now, and let's see what we can do there. These slime creatures here up ahead are some piece of bad news. They got 60 HP on their own, 22 damage per creature. That's pretty standard stats. Also no real good defensive values, but watch what they do. Here we go, let's just watch them do this, and now they start merging, and they just stack their stats on top of each other. So 3 of them merged together have triple the HP, triple the damage, and this is where stuff can grow really dangerous. And the best way of fighting them is just running away from them for a while and luring them into the open space. Usually they start breaking up after a while, after they have lost tracks of you, as you see here. I've broken line of sight long enough with them, and then you can just slap them one by one. But whatever you do, never attack them when they're merged. That's when they are strongest. The largest form of these, I think that's consisting out of 5 or so, can easily slap players with one blow. And here I tripped a random trap. Whenever a sudden malevolence fills the dungeon, that's when a random trap springs. Now, Mark. We haven't spoken about marked yet. So this is really bad news. So whenever you're marked, every enemy on the map is awake and aware of your whereabouts, and they will come for you. So the best thing you can do when you are marked is just get upstairs in a safe level and just wait it out. And don't use that staircase directly again anymore, because, you know, everything on that level was headed towards that place. If you can't do so, due to different reasons, a potion of cancellation does the trick too. I haven't found potions of cancellation yet either, huh? Too bad. But potions of cancellation cancel all magical effects on you, and so will they also cancel out a mark on you. So Black Mamba, we already covered these, but at this point of the game, these enemies are really not too dangerous anymore. There's a Manticore, so now I got barbed. I was talking about these in the last episode. So when you're barbed, moving will deal a substantial amount of damage to you. You see here, the barbed spikes dig painfully in your body as you move, but standing still will remove them after a while. The trick with Manticores is that if you're really a massive chunky boy like I'm playing here with a lot of HP and a lot of AC, you just move towards that thing and smack it. If that's not the possible, you usually start relying on ranged attacks. So that's my usual go-to strategy. And here's a walled guard. Whenever you see a enemy that has the word vault in his name, then you've found the vaults, a side branch of the game where you can find yet another game-ending rune. So be aware of the fact that when you found a vault guard, there's also going to be a room on that level where there's the entrance to the vaults. Well, it's pretty obvious, I know, but there's one thing that's really why it's really worth mentioning, that every branch entrance in this game has a tendency to spawn a dangerous environment, featuring monsters from that biome, or featuring a special selection of kick-ass monsters to ruin your day. Whenever you find the entrance to a specific branch of the game, take it seriously. It might ruin your day. So we're starting to auto-explore here a little bit, because most of the enemies here aren't really any trouble anymore. And look at this beauty. A +3 battle axe. Okay, it's not really a beauty. It's actually bad. It has a protection brand. I bet that these silvery walls here are the entrance to the vaults. Let's see if I'm right. Freezing wraiths are pretty dangerous people. They are on their own pretty harmless, but they are slowing you if they start attacking you, and you know, being slowed is tremendously dangerous in larger engagements, and therefore they are really nasty debuffers that can make the fight a lot harder for you. Let's see. Alright, I was right. This here is the entrance to the walls. I'm standing in front of an Ifrit. These dudes are fire. It's all about fire, but they're fairly squishy. When you get close to them, they're easy to kill. When they get to keep a range on you where they can shoot stuff at you, they're really dangerous. But luckily we're not there yet. So the vaults can't be entered because you need a rune to enter this place. So basically you need to finish another branch with a rune first before you can enter this place. Don't worry, the rune doesn't get consumed in the process. You just use it to unlock the door, and then you get to keep it. So let's see. A shop. Shops are good, but this stuff is pretty overpriced. Gotta say, it's a lot of gold for these items, but I'll buy that scroll of magic mapping nevertheless. The other items I won't buy because teleportation and curing are pretty common, pretty common scrolls in general, and I'm not willing to spend that much money. The scroll of magic mapping, though, I really love to have these. They are really good for every finale of every sword. It's good to know the terrain. Also, if you happen to meet a temporary dungeon entrance or something like that, it's real cool if you can just map out the dungeon level and go for it. So we're now done with dungeon level 13, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go over into the Orcish mines. So capital G and press O and enter, and then you just automatically go over there. So let's see, for the Orcish mines, I highly recommend you to have some sort of willpower, because that's really helpful. The Orcish mines are a entirely optional branch. You don't need to visit this place to win the game. Not at all. There's nothing here that's making this area mandatory. But there's always a lot of gold here, and of course a lot of experience to be gained. So what do we have here? It's a pretty nasty pack. Uruk and Urolcha. So we have two uniques to discover here. Uruk is pretty easily described. Heavily armored and equipped with javelins always, and in this scenario a +5 Vorpal battle axe. Jeez, now that's something that I have to take seriously. That's why it's always worth checking out the enemies. So battle axe is a pretty heavy weapon, Vorpal is increasing the damage, and +5 is a pretty high enchantment, so let's be careful with that. And Urolcha. Now Urolcha is really a piece of bad news because she has that skill Banishment. Everything that has banishment really is dangerous because it banishes a creature into the abyss. The abyss is super deadly for everybody who's below experience level 10. It's basically hell of a sorts. It's a randomly generated environment where you have to traverse through and find a way out. It's not impossible or anything, but it's really cool if you don't have to go there. So the first things we do is switch on heroism and finesse. And for this fight in particular, I'm going to swap on the potion of invisibility as well. Well, sadly, that didn't work because Urolcha seems to be capable of seeing invisible. Okay, so that trick didn't work. If somebody is wielding spells that you don't want to get in your face, going invisible is sometimes a way of getting it done. The other option that you can go for is polymorphing things, but as you see here, there's only a 32% chance of affecting her. We're just going to try and slap her because I'm so powerful as a fighter that I'm pretty confident that I'm able to do this. With finesse and heroism, you attack extremely fast and extremely hard. So we had no problem whatsoever. I'm picking up the javelins from Uruk. Thanks for that. And we're just going to proceed here. Okay. If you ever get banished into the abyss, here's a couple of things. First off, fight only if you must. run away as long as you until you find a staircase out, and if stuff grows over your head, pop a scroll of teleportation to get somewhere else. If you have access to items with regeneration, equip them immediately, because regeneration is extremely powerful in the Abyss, because you can't really rest up to heal, because there will be always monsters spawning on top of you if you try. Good luck. That's a beginner's tutorial for the Abyss. Now, we did get that level finished, and let's get downstairs, but beware. Orcish Mines 2 is the finale of that part, so I'm going to turn on heroism here in that thing. And finale always means that there's a part of the level designed particularly nasty and populated with particularly nasty enemies that sometimes don't even should show up here. And you never know what kind of ending you will be served. The last time I was here, I had a Temple of the Orcs, where I had to kill a lot of Orcish High Priests and a lot of regular Orcish Priests. There's a lot of different setups that can happen here. This time we're facing Saint Roka. Okay. Saint Roka is basically, yeah, the messiah of the Orcish religion, so this is a really dangerous enemy. Saint Roka has a brutal amount of HP, like 200 HP. I think that's the biggest enemy we've faced so far, and always comes with that smiting ability, but most importantly, Battle Cry, increasing the power of all the allies. You see that little the little flame icon right next to everybody? That's meaning they're enraged. So I'm immediately going to head off here. So I got hit by a boomerang of dispersal. That's really bad. I gotta get to that staircase. Waiting one more turn to get a couple of these orcs onto the trip here, and now I'll take the other staircase. And for this character, Saint Roka is killable, but overall take Saint Roka very seriously. This is basically the most powerful unique that can be spawned against you in this branch of the dungeon, and we're getting a lot of damage in here. Here I'm at 40 HP left, so I'm very, very carefully moving here. Roka is keeping those smites on me, so we're going to quaff a potion of heal wounds here and keep moving. Upstairs. Okay. These boomerangs of dispersal were really, really nasty. Really so. So if I would have had another teleport on me, I would have used one of my extremely valuable scrolls of blinking to get onto that staircase directly. I hope I finally got rid of that dude who has those dispersal boomerangs. Okay, so Saint Roka is now directly in my face. I turn on heroism, I turn on finesse, and I'll immediately also sip in a potion of Berserk Rage, because, you know, this is one of those situations where I know I'll be killing that dude. So I'll just go directly onto Saint Roka and just smashing it. So I'll increase strength one more time. I was level 15, so here we go. Now, after Berserk, you're slowed, so I'm going to catch my breath now. But this was a pretty good usage of Berserk. Only use Berserk if you're really sure that you will win it. I was pretty sure that I'd win it. If not, rather prefer the Potion of Might over Berserk Rage, because that's a similar effect without the downsides. Okay, so we got that. Pretty nasty fight already. Like I said, take it seriously. You saw how quickly I was from totally okay into crisis mode. Because you see, when I slow down like I did there when I went on 50 HP, that's crisis mode. Okay, we're going to start carefully auto-exploring now. Carefully. These regular orcs, they are really no danger for me whatsoever. We're taking them down super easily. Okay, let's see what's in here. That's an interesting part of this. So there's a Bayok altar here. Okay, let's carefully start auto-exploring again. A Orc Warlord. Okay, Orc Warlords are the biggest and baddest orcs that you can face without them being a unique. A +5 Warple Greatsword and a +4 Armor of Cold Resistance are also really, really powerful things. So let's do the usual. Heroism, Finesse, but this time I'll be immediately sipping in a Potion of Invisibility, because orcs, they can't see invisible. That's another trick that you can use to topple them. And I'm going to kill this dude invisibly. They even did damage me, even though I was invisible and all. So, like I said, take these guys seriously. I'm just trying to show you as many different options to get the same job done as possible. So we're now, well, nah, I'm not going to change out my armor of fire resistance. I need fire resistance too badly. It's not good to drop that. Do I have enchant armor? Sadly, no. But I'm not willing to trade my cold resistance for a couple of points of extra AC. So here's a Orc Sorcerer. Orc Sorcerers are really, really nasty. Not only can they paralyze, but they can also summon demons. Everything and everybody who can summon demons deserves your full attention and respect, because demons are among the worst enemies in game. If that ever comes across you, first rule of engagement, break line of sight if possible, because they won't summon stuff and they don't see you. And then, in this scenario, just step forward and smack him immediately. You see here, he already summoned a orange demon, and the big problem there is that demons have a high variety of extremely dangerous spells, and some of them even have the ability to permanently damage your stats and whatnot, but most importantly, it makes it super hard to get close to the summoner. When you kill a summoner, all his summons disperse directly. And look at our big boy Okawaru giving us gifts. A +8 plate armor of resist poison, resist corrosion, and strength. So I can't put that down. Like, a +4, okay, but not +8. I can't put that down. So how are we going to negate that? I go Control F and check out fire. So we only found really these items for fire resistance. That's really tragic, but I'll be resolving that problem otherwise. So let's see. We have found a weapon boutique. Well, there's a shimmering halberd in it, but that's pretty much all that sounds interesting to me. Sadly. I mean, I'd love to have more of these things, but no. Alright, a +8 plate armor. Now that's a big one. A potion shop? Let's see. I'll buy that potion of ambrosia, mostly because it's unknown, alongside with a lignification potion. Heal wounds is a no-brainer. We're going to buy all the curing potions and the might potion as well. So I'm going clean sweep here. So let's see. That was 1 here. You see, Potion of Ambrosia gained 1, Potion of Lignification gained 1. So we did identify a couple of potions in our inventory. That's a little trick that you can use, because if you have the identical potion already in your inventory, it's going to get merged inside. Here's the same thing. There's the Orc Sorcerer getting inside and getting in his face directly. If you can't reach summoners in any way and can't break the line of sight, accept that you have lost the fight. You have to escape and face them somewhere else, because their summons will eventually run out and disperse, so you get another chance to try it again. But really, don't try to topple summoners, especially demon summoners, if you can't reach them directly. You will most likely either lose the fight or spend more resources or get more risk in than necessary. Believe me, I tried. So we have here a ending that's kind of a city ending. There's an orcish city full of all manner of different baddies, but beyond that, there's nothing too worrisome here. So here's the Elven Halls. The Elven Halls is an entirely optional branch yet again, but it's very, very juicy and very, very deadly. Now, here's 2 sorcerers. So you see there seems to be a theme of sorcerers in this one. And this corner here is the perfect kill hole. So the enemies here can't see me because they're broken here. So this kind of a V of a greater than or lesser than symbol are the ideal kill holes, because the sorcerers behind there, they can't see me, and therefore they won't summon anything and just get outside and allow me to slap them, and that's what I love to do. All right, we found a artifact rope of the mackerel. That's the big reward here, huh? Oh. So that looks like I am mistaken, though. Orc priests. Oh, looks like we're seeing a big bad temple ending yet again. Okay, good thing. So I can talk a little bit more about orcish high priests. I'm pretty sure that we'll face some. So this is a good example. So here I'll be directly quivering the javelin and start tossing. I don't want to get close here. He paralyzed me even. I don't want to waste one turn and directly start dealing damage to this dude. So back there is a orc warlord. So we took down all the orc sorcerers. That's good. So we can now kite back out, activate heroism and finesse, and start whacking. The orc warlord, I'll be inspecting him. He's only wielding a longsword and a fire resistance chainmail, so I'll give it a try without a potion. I only use potions if I must. And seeing an orc warlord in a highly enchanted plate armor with a highly enchanted branded two-handed sword is one of those reasons where I feel like I must. But not these circumstances. Watch these wizards, by the way, blow themselves up at times by flinging spells at me. So here's an orcish high priest. High priests are a pretty similar version to the sorcerers. Their biggest difference is that the high priest is a supporter. As you see here, they can heal others, and they can also do abjuration. Abjuration is dispersing hostile summons, so orcish high priests are really good at dealing with summoners themselves. So be warned, this is dangerous. So I'll be buying nothing out of this shop. I was tempted to buy that potion of resistance, but then I reconsidered, because I do have a couple of those in my pocket, and therefore I don't want to overbuy. So this is a typical situation which I was talking about. It's hard for me to reach the summoner here, so I'm starting to fling javelins down the hallway, but we're going to go into heroism and finesse here directly, and let's try that dual skill for once. So I'm aiming that onto the high priest, and now I'm in a godly arena. And, well, I'm just smacking this dude, and it's that. I can't even rest up here for a moment, but not long until I get removed out of that. But my HP are running lower and lower. That's because there's orc warriors standing right next to me and swinging their battle axes at me. So, well, everything went right. So here's a great thing that you can do with Okawaru, and it's this dual skill. It does require a really high skill in invocations, though, to make it work, but it's a pretty good way of dealing with summoners like you've seen there. I'm new to this tool myself, because it wasn't implemented the last time I was playing Crawl, but I really like this one already. It makes it a lot easier to reach these dudes, but here that was a perfect way of killing this guy, breaking line of sight, luring them into your face, smacking them. That's the best way to deal with summoners. Everything else is just outright risky. So we can, of course, do another good thing here, and that's start to use these Ice Blast wands. So we're just going to show a last way of doing it, and that's just brute forcing it with your resources. Here we go. Sometimes that's also worth it, and you always have to consider for yourself what kind of investment you want to go for or not. Here's a pair of gloves of strength. Since I only have regular gloves, I'll be totally buying those. I mean, extra strength doesn't do that much, but as far as I know, there's no limit for extra damage due to strength. Correct me if I'm wrong. I really don't know if I'm wrong there. By the way, boomerangs of dispersal. I want those. Where are they? here. Like boomerangs of dispersal, if you smack somebody with it, they teleport somewhere else, and that's one of the coolest things that you can have, because, you know, that's a real problem-solving tool. Now, there's a couple of areas where I couldn't explore. Let's put on those boots of flying and explore. So there's just that piece of lava there and nothing else. So here's one thing that's always worth mentioning about orcish mines. There's always a area that you can only enter over area 2. So watch out for an upstairs with an asterisk here. So I'm putting on the other boots again. Let's get upstairs. As you see, there's a little portion right next to this place here. Let's just auto-explore that. Sometimes it's larger, sometimes it's smaller. It's always depending on the layout, but it's easy to overlook it if you're not aware of the fact that it's there. So let's get into the rest of the dungeon. So we're now entering dungeon 14, and this is where stuff is going to get really serious. So I'll be checking out one more thing here. I'll be checking for every kind of mace that has come my way, because I want to check whether or not I have missed a morning star or something that's better than the item I got, but no, there's really nothing. Okay. Because like I mentioned before, I'm growing less and less confident with my weapon here, so, but heroism and finesse are going to do a lot for us here. Heroism, by the way, grows less and less interesting here, because the actual increase of combat stats doesn't do that insanely much anymore for us. So if you see walls like these, always be on the lookout. This is usually a marker for some sort of special area, and this game always brings up so-called vaults in one way or another. Like, a vault is a handcrafted area by some sort of developer, where there's often a hand-placed selection of monsters, even. Kirky. Kirky is a monster or an enemy that wants to transform you into a pork. So let's go into finesse and hope that I'll be slapping her away before she porculates me. You should not go for Kirky if you aren't able to deal a lot of damage real quickly, and if you're quite squishy. So the problem about Kirky is that once you are in pig form, you can't really do many things that you were able to do as a human, and that's the real danger behind that. A high amount of magic resistance just blocks that away, or if you just crowd control her real quickly, that's also solving the issue. But it's easy to get into trouble with the stuff that's not Kirky. If she's alone, it's usually not that hard to get rid of her or teleport or run away if she transforms you into a pig. So let's get back to this. So you see there's mummies, and high tier mummies are really, really nasty. You see the amount of spells here. Symbol of Torment is among the worst of those. It will cut your HP in half. Every living being will suffer 50% HP reduction. And they can summon demons, and they can summon undead, and they can smite. This sums up to one of the worst and dangerous enemies in the game. But there's one big weakness of those. They are really vulnerable against fire. Sadly, I don't have fire. So I'm going to toss one Jaff at this dude to get him close. And now I'm going to heroism and finesse myself and just outright do a direct assault on this dude. Whatever you do, only fight these guys if you can directly reach them. They are even the much worse version of a summoner that we faced before. So, as you see here, you feel extremely nervous, I get engulfed in negative energy, and I feel drained. That's just what happens if you smack mummies, or high-tier mummies. A few versions ago that was happening when you're kicking low-tier mummies as well, so I guess I should be grateful for that downgrade. So here's another one of those. So here I got a slow in. Let's just wait that out. So, in short, mummy priests are the same as the other enemies were before, but they're only worse. The good side about them is they aren't particularly resilient. Menkore. Morningstar Flaming, yo, hello there. Now that's something I'd like to enchant. And the Amulet of Vitality, regen and HP plus 15. So that's definitely the moment where I toss out the Amulet of Regeneration. And you see, this was a mummy vault where we definitely had to fight out a high amount of dangerous mummies, and that's why I said stay alert when you see stuff like that. Because the guardian mummies inside there were incredibly powerful, and usually you don't face that kind of enemy in this depth level. So we were in for a especially hard challenge here. So here we have a combo of baddies, but we're not really in trouble here, are we? No. So a Death Knight. Death Knights have Injury Mirror as a spell, and here, when you see here, Death Knight offers itself to Iridelnul and fills himself with unholy energy. When they have that on, only keep attacking them if they are almost dead. Otherwise, you will suffer a lot of damage by yourself. But that's the only real important thing worth mentioning about that. I hear a distant snort. That means there's a labyrinth on this level. But this is definitely not the entrance point where I want to fight. So we're going to get away from here. And, well, okay, whatever. We're going to do this. So let's put on Heroism, Finesse. And is there anything I want to sip that I have not much of? No. Okay, so we're going to get upstairs with that pack one more time and get rid of the Wraith first, then of the Frozen Dude, to get rid of the slows here. And then we're going to get rid of the ugly things. Oh, there's a Wraith I missed. And just to give you a impression about how strong this character is right now, but also to give you an impression about how dangerous it is to ignore your own safety here like that. So we'll have to go for one more stair dance like that. And now we're going to head over here. So I'm doing all this, in case you're wondering why I'm playing like that, because there is a timer on that dungeon entrance there. So we have this, you hear a snort, and that means there is a entrance that will run off. So I'm trying to rest as little as possible and kill as much as possible in that time. So let's sip in one potion of Ambrosia, and I'm confused while that stuff is running, but I'm also healing a lot faster. This is one of the perfect moments to use Ambrosia potions, because I want to heal up quickly, because I don't want to miss out that juicy extra level there. So here I'm now popping a scroll of magic mapping to know where I'll have to go to, but this was okay, tragic. So inside there, the Minotaur awaits, and we're going to play that labyrinth in the next episode, and we're almost done now with the mid-game. Labyrinth is the last spot where we're going to go now. It's changed since the last time I was in there. And next episode, we're starting to grab runes, so stay tuned for that. I can't wait. We're then officially entering the late game, and it's gonna be fun. So drop your comments down there in the box. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and of course consider subscribing. There's daily content coming up from my side. You just need to turn on that notification bell. See you guys next time. Goodbye.